I'm happy to see you all, and I wanted to make sure that when I made a decision, when I made an announcement, that you, as representatives of Markham-Stouffville, we didn't invite all 100,000 constituents, but invited as many as we thought we could fit in. I wanted you to be the first to know about the decision I made, and many of you have been asking about it. I've been deliberating, I've been getting your advice, and now I've made a decision. So I'm going to cut to the chase, and I'll give a bit of explanatory details later. I want you to know that I have decided to put my name forward as a candidate in the federal election for October 2019. And I know you're all wondering what color I was going to wear today, and I didn't want to give any hints. So I am going to run in the federal election as an independent candidate for the people of Markham-Stouffville. Thank you. We're going to do it together, yes. All of us together, independent. Now, some of you may be surprised, and there's probably a few of you who are wishing for something different. That's okay. I heard a whole range of advice. Being a member of Parliament for the people of Markham-Stouffville has been an enormous privilege. And when I did ask you for your advice, you gave me all sorts of suggestions. But the most common response I heard from you was, please stay in politics. Please offer yourself again. So the next decision was how to do that. But you know, I've been really proud of what we've been able to do, and it's not me that's done it, it's all of us together. I have an amazing constituency office, a big kudos to my team up there who really provide a great service, and I want to keep providing great quality federal services for the people of Markham-Stouffville. So that was one of the reasons that I thought, I'm not done with federal politics. But I also was impressed by the people who stopped me on the streets, in the grocery store, in the pharmacy, in the restaurants in the community. And one of the common things that I would hear, I can't tell you how many times people said this to me, it would be a parent who would come up to me and say, I want to tell you about the impact your story has had on my daughter. And they would say, I have a 12-year-old daughter, or I have a 16-year-old daughter. And when my daughter saw that you stood up for something that you believed in, and that you weren't afraid to speak the truth, and you weren't afraid to sacrifice your career, they have learned from that how to be courageous and how to take steps, not always knowing the outcome. And so it's for those young girls that I want to say, there is a future. Don't ever be afraid to speak the truth. Don't ever be afraid to stand up for what's right. What lesson would it be for those young girls if I were to walk away? If I were to walk away with my tail between my legs and say, you guys are too strong for me. I'm afraid of you. What lesson would it be? I need to persevere. Exactly. So we are ready for a new lesson to say, hang in there. Speak for the truth. The other thing that I heard over and over again is people said, we are getting really tired of hyper-partisan politics. Can't we get beyond partisan politics? They said to me, the system seems dysfunctional. It seems like all they're doing up there in Ottawa is fighting with each other. And there's a disconnect. We don't feel like the people in Ottawa are connected to us, the people. And party politics is a big part of the disconnect and the dysfunction. And so I heard what you wanted. You said you want politicians who will treat each other with respect, who will collaborate and work together across party lines, who will believe in what is possible and find the voices, find the minds, find the creativity across all parties to solve the big problems that are facing us. We want to solve problems across election cycles so we don't have one party bringing in a whole range of initiatives, and then as soon as the election happens, the next guys tear it all down and start with another whole range and waste a lot of time and money in the process. If we could build those solutions together across party lines and say that this work is going to outlive this government, it's going to be bought into by people across the political spectrum, then we can really get stuff done. People want politicians who are authentic, who really present the real deal. They want politicians who are accountable, who are willing to admit that from time to time we make mistakes, but we're going to own up to them, and then we're going to get things right and move on. And people want politicians that are bold, that realize we have some serious existential threats in this country. We have threats like climate change that is literally putting this planet at risk. And I'll just pause on that because look around, those of you who can see out a door on these gorgeous fields out here on the 9th line in Markham. This is the place, one of the places on Earth that's going to be affected if we don't make some serious changes. Think about what would happen to this Reeser farm and the next Reeser farm and the next farm if we have serious drought in the years to come, if we have floods, unexpectedly high rainfalls. You ask a farmer, and there's plenty of them in this room, you ask a farmer if they care about climate change, and they're going to tell you it's a serious problem. We have to keep feeding this planet, and we're not going to do it if the climate keeps getting warmer and warmer. We have only scratched the surface on what has to be done for climate change, and together we can go the next level. We know that we're always going to need power. We're not going to stop wanting to travel. We're not going to stop wanting to plug in our devices and use electricity. But we should have bold new investments in alternative sources to get that power and energy. And it's going to take a bold transition to do so, but it's the right thing to do. We need political will. And who better to build political will than independent voices that aren't afraid of anybody? And on that note, as we talk about climate change, I have to give a shout out to my amazing colleague, Elizabeth May. Many of you know that Elizabeth and I have had a lot of conversations in the last few weeks. I think she is doing fantastic work. She needs to be listened to. She and her green team have outstanding ideas for the future of this planet, and I intend to be her ally. I intend to work with her to fight for the kinds of initiatives that will save this planet. We're going to do it together. We have so many other big challenges. Look, we've got work to do on democratic reform in this country because I have learned in the last few months more than I ever knew in my life about the fact that the system is broken. We need to find a way that every voice, when they go to the ballot box, will know that their vote counts and that they will be well represented in Parliament. We have an amazing amount of work to do on Indigenous rights. I know how much the people of Markham-Stouffville care about that because you tell me that all the time. And those are huge challenges that we're facing to make sure that the rights and well-being of Indigenous peoples are respected. Our country will not move forward effectively unless we respect those rights. But these are all the kind of big challenges that we can't solve if we're constantly fighting with one another. This is a cry for cooperation. Let's cooperate. Let's collaborate. That's the only way we're going to solve these hard problems. And so I'm hoping that today, as I announce my candidacy as an independent, that others across the country, nobody else in Markham-Stouffville, hopefully, at least not too many of you. I mean, if you want to, jump in. This is for everybody. But I hope across the country other people will say, you know what, none of the parties is exactly me. I can't fit myself into an exact box of a party, but I feel like I could represent my community well. Then go for it. Go for it. We need independent voices who will work with independent partisans to solve the big problems of our time. You know, it's kind of a funny word, the word independent. It strikes me as a bit of a paradox because you think that maybe independent means you're not prepared to work with anyone, that you're going to go it alone. That is absolutely not the case. The truth is that independents will work with everyone. White goes with everything, this color, just in the same way. It looks great with blue and orange and red and green. Bring it all on. We're going to work together. You know, the past couple of months, much to people's shock, I have actually enjoyed being an independent member of Parliament. I would never have thought it was possible. I didn't lose my voice. I found my voice. There is no longer a political party telling me what to say. There's no longer a political staffer telling me how to vote. There are no longer corporate lobbyists that are influencing the direction that I would go. The only people that are the boss of me right now are you. You, the people of Markham Stouffville, you're the boss of me. But no political party is. We're going to work together. We need bold, independent action on the biggest problems facing our community, our country, and our planet. And I'm going to need a lot of help. I'm thankful that many of you have already said to me today that you're ready to help. You're ready to dig in. Well, I hope that nothing I've said so far has dissuaded you, because we need to all work together. And I hope you'll get on board. I have a website which, if all of the technical geniuses have done things right, I'm seeing a thumbs up that we have a website that's now gone live, so people can check that out. I'm going to need dozens, if not hundreds, of volunteers. We're going to start our first canvassing this Saturday. We're meeting at the beautiful Village Hive just down the road in Old Markham at noon on Saturday. We're going to talk about how we're going to get out in the community, and then we're going to go knock on some doors. So if you're free on Saturday at noon, please join me for that. I am going to need people to put up beautiful lawn signs. I've talked to some of the artists in the room about how we're going to get creative. We're going to make the most beautiful lawn signs in the country here in Markham Stouffville, because there are no rules. We are going to paint outside the party lines. And I am going to need some financial support. So if you find it in your ability today, tomorrow, in the months to come to be able to make a donation, I believe there are volunteers who are set up to be able to accept donations today. I'm going to be honest with you, there are a few things that are rigged a little bit against independent candidates. I can take donations effective immediately. I will give you a receipt if you make a donation today or in the next couple of months. Between now and when the writ drops, that receipt will not be eligible for a tax credit. So I'm going to ask you to make a bit of a sacrifice in the next couple of months if you can. Starting when the writ drops, any donations made after that, which will be roughly the beginning of September, all of those will get a receipt for tax credit. So this is all about telling you the truth, and that's the way it works. So if you can give a donation now, or if you want to wait until the writ drops, we will need some support. I want to hire a campaign manager. I need a campaign office. We have to order some of those beautiful signs as we create them together. And spread the word, please. I believe for an independent to get elected, we're going to need to get people out to vote that don't ordinarily vote. And I totally think that's possible. Because there are people who stay home because they say, nobody represents me. I see those people, I see those parties, and I don't feel like I fit anywhere. Well, you don't need to fit anywhere. You just want to believe in democracy, and you can put your name on a ballot for an independent candidate. So let's find all those people who don't normally vote and get them out. That is part of it. Absolutely. So I'm going to take some questions in just a few minutes from my friends and neighbors of Markham Stouffville, and then we'll hopefully have time for a few questions from the media. I wanted to end off, I wanted you to go from here and use your imagination about what this is going to look like. And I thought I'd help put a song in your head. So in a few minutes, once we break up here, thanks to Mike for the great songs that he's been playing today. The song, hopefully he's going to play as everybody goes out, is a song by Rachel Platten. It's called Fight Song. And forgive me, all the Mennonites in the room who don't like the fighting connotations, but I think you'll be okay with the fight song. You know what, the reason I like this song is because it speaks to not underestimating the potential of small things, of what one small thing can do. And this song starts off like this. It says, like a small boat in the ocean, sending big waves into motion, like how a single word can make a heart open. We may only be one seat, but together we can change the world for the better. Don't doubt yourself. Let's go out from here and do great things for Markham Stouffville and Canada.